Hi, I'm Captain Vinod. Been a sailor for about 13 to 15 years. Started my career late 90s as a cadet. Picked up from there. Went through the normal norms of sea. Became an officer and finally a captain. I started my cadetship with an Indian company called SR Cisco. Uh, that time we had a period of about 3 years to finish as a cadet. So I spent all my time 3 years with SR Shipping. After that, became a third officer, and in order to explore the world more and to see and to work with different nationalities, different culture, moved over to a foreign company, a management company basically called Univan. Spent a few years there. Further wanted to grow up and see how the big people work, so moved over to a Mediterranean shipping company, MSC. Grew up the ranks, second officer, became chief officer with Mediterranean Shipping Company, mostly on container ships, but also had the opportunity to sail on different kind of ships like bulk carriers, tankers, chemical tankers, car carriers, truck carriers. Finally, I thought it's been a dream for me to serve in a really big company, big name company like Maersk. So finally, after becoming a captain with MSC, got an opportunity to serve with Maersk, and off late till the time I was at sea, I was sailing with Maersk. Family reasons, children growing up, they've been part of me during my sailing time. But now, as the child grows up and he starts going into school days and all that, it's not really. It's not so feasible for them to be with me. So I thought I'll just step ashore and be with them. So I've been at the back office now with TransAsia. See, I would say it's a deep blue sea which pulled me, and it's the adventure, which we have heard from a lot of people, which you have seen on various movies and documentaries. It's something, it's more of an adventure. It's a place where not many people have explored. It's a very few section of the community which moves on to sea. So I've been always wanting to do something different from what normal people have been doing. So it's basically the deep blue sea and the adventure that's associated with it, which really pulled me into being a sailor. Also, there are good parts associated with it. You go into different parts of the world. Yeah, you see the world, you see the different culture, you meet the different people, and it's like it makes a big difference in life. Like, when you see the world, you're ready to face anything, any challenge. So that's been the good part of it. Initially, you get scared with the hurricanes and the rough seas and all that, but then as you go through it, you start gaining the strength. And really, hurricanes have been a big, scary thing about sea. The first thing everybody, or as a master, as a captain, you look is when you wake up, is you just pull out the curtains and see outside how is the weather. That's because you've been through those and you don't want to be it. No matter, I believe, no matter if you've been a sailor for 30, 40 years, also that day of the rough sea is still as scary as your first day. As I said in the beginning, sea is an adventure. It's a place where you see new things. Every day is a new day. But then, like everything, there are scary, bad things associated. And I think these days, the really scary part about being a sailor is a lot of rules and regulations which have come in. And if your ship goes and collide, or there is a pollution or things like that, you are treated as good as a criminal, right? It's a criminal offense against you. So that's really scary part of it. But then if I turn back into my years, even today, if I think about the sea, what really scares me is the huge waves which come up, Takes me back to an incident we had on a car carrier. Once we are sailing out of New York, we are heading into Strait of Gibraltar into Europe. And very calm, pleasant day, everything was going fine. It's a long sail, probably about 10 to 14 days to reach your next port. You're getting into an open sea. The company that you had is slowly getting detached. You're getting lonely and lonely and lonely. And things were going fine. And 2 days into the voyage, heading into the Strait of Gibraltar from New York, things started getting a little gloomy. The clouds started coming, and what made it worse is that the weather reports that we were getting almost stopped. The weather facts stopped working. So we really didn't have a clue of what's coming ahead. But then being a sailor for last more than 10 years, but the change of the smell of the water, you can really, make out what's coming ahead. And I was just on the bridge, and I just told my officer that whatever checks you can get on the weather, keep trying your weather facts, because I can really feel there's something really going to happen bad. And we headed out, and the waves slowly started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the ship, which was a steady ship, started, movement, the rolling, pitching, and all that slowly. People sitting on the dining table could feel the vibration that something is going wrong, and then came the big bang. The waves started banging the ship, and ship started rolling, pitching. We were not able to stand steady in a place. Plates were falling down, and when you look out, it was really scary. The ships were going down with the wave, and the water was almost where you're standing, 50 odd meters up. I could make out from the smiling faces of the people, which is changing. It's slowly becoming gloomy, scary, and the footsteps were getting slower and slower, and you could really get the fear in everybody. And what made it worse was, there was a very noisy wind which blows when these hurricanes come in, and you could really feel the roaring sounds of the wind, and that's really scary. Standing outside and listening to that roaring and seeing the waves, it's just like the water is coming to touch you, the water is coming to take you. It's been a really scary experience, and we did go through it. Every day, every minute was like, think that this is my last moment in life, and take it whichever way you want. You either pray or you be scary or take it as an adventure, whichever way. The only way to get out of it is to get out of it. That's it, And we did get out of it. 2 days, 2 struggling long days, no food, no sleep. You get onto the bed, you fall down, whatever you eat comes out, It's a really, messy kind of a situation that we have. And finally, we did get through it. But then once the weather facts started working again, and we could get the weather facts, and we could find that what made it more scary, we were fortunate that the weather facts wasn't working at that time, because finally when the reports came, we saw that we were actually caught in the middle of 2 storms. That's a very rare phenomenon which happens at sea. But then there were two storms. It was like a perfect storm. They call it a perfect storm. 2 came and blended, and we were right in the eye of the storm. And I'm sure that if we had the facts before we went through it, surely people would have been scared to death. But then we did go through it, and finally here I am standing alive. Maritime law, it's a huge vast area. To know, as you said, to get the ship into different waters of different countries, and to know the rules and regulations of that country is not that easy. The IMO steps in here, International Maritime Organization. They have standardized rules and regulations for a lot of activities for the safety of life at sea, which we call as SOLAS. It's a Bible at sea. And also they've come up with pollution has become an activity, so they've come up with their regulations and MARPOL, right? So, but then it's really difficult to know the rules and regulations of an individual country and to be part of it, So we go by this sets of standards set by IMO. Also, we go by the past experiences that we have known about from different sailing community and all that. But then you really do get into difficult situations also. I remember there was an incident. Our ship was calling Japan, and we had a rotation where we call 2 Japanese ports and then go to Korea and sail out to Singapore. But then New Year's time, weather was very bad. We called the first port in Japan, Tokyo. We're heading into the second port. The news came on the wire saying that go to Korea because the Japanese port is shut down due to bad weather. Heavy winds, they can't work the cranes. You go to Korea and come back. So I diverted the vessel. We went into Korea. It was New Year's time. We headed back into Japan after finishing operations in Korea. But I could really smell something is going on here. The Japanese agent sent me a message that there's something wrong that we did. You're not supposed to go to a country and come back into Japan, because the clearance that the vessel gets a clearance, paper, which you obtained from the last port in Japan was for the next port. You're not supposed to go with that clearance to another country. So you have done an offense over here. I don't know, this is the first time a situation like this is developing. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how to help you, etc., and all that. But then the act has been done. We had head into Korea and coming back into Japan, and though these things were explained, I was not really, didn't know what's really is going on, and didn't catch that whatever they've been sending in the messages. But finally, when the ship called Japan, I could find a big line of cops standing on the jetty, and they said nobody boards the ship till we get in. So I said fine. So we put the ladder down. This big police chaps with their coats and all that. They came into my cabin, into my office, and they started interrogating me. What made it hard was that these people doesn't speak English, so the agent was translating, who was translating what the communication between us, and they asked a lot of questions, and I was replying to them and all that. So finally, I came to know that these people have come on board to arrest me and take me to the jail because I've done an offense as per the Japanese law. It's then where I became aware that these kind of laws do exist and how risky it is for a seafarer to be ignorant of the law. So, but what got me out of the situation was, Japanese are very down to earth people and very honest people. If you tell them one to one what exactly happened, and if there are records to prove what you are saying is true, they believe you. They believe your word, and that's what saved me. So whatever questions they answered, I was telling the truth, what happened. They went around, there are different recording equipments on the ship. They went around and checked those recording equipments, which matched word to word with what I was saying. So they trusted me, they believed me. In fact, that's the last word they said, "We trust you, Captain." So I said, "You trust me, that's what I've done." They said, "Fine." And then that's when they told me, "Okay, we're leaving your office, but we had come here with an intention to take you to jail." Right? So that's how bad this international rules and regulations of a particular country can get into you. So different kind of ships require different operations, requires different skills, requires different kind of preparations that you do. Container ships, you're talking about boxes being loaded in and out. You're talking about a car carrier or a truck carrier, you're thinking about cars rolling in and out, trucks rolling in and out. So it requires a different sort of skills, but we really don't have any sort of preparations that we do before you join a ship. Everything clicks on the moment you join the ship. We take it on from there. We know that. I mean, being a sailor, you're ready for anything. That's how your life is. You're ready for anything, anytime, no matter what circumstances, what situations. You have that belief that you have to get out of it yourself. Ultimately, it turns down to 20 people on board the ship, and they have to take care of themselves. So that belief sets into you, and you really don't do any sort of preparations before you join any ship. It's just that you go on there and take it on from there, depending upon the type of operations that you head on. Family. After I got married, it's a dream for a seafarer to get your family on board, and this is my family. I've got my wife Sunita and son Ishan. Yeah, and for me it's been a good experience to take them on board and to show them the world. Yeah, as I said in the beginning, it requires something extra for you to step out of land and go into sea. You know the risk involved. You know the adventure behind it. You know the hardship. You know that you're going to be missing a lot of things, a lot of activities which happens on land. You miss out all the functions and all that. So, but there is something that pulls you on. If you're willing to take that one extra step, then you have a career to make. So, I've been here for close to 15 years, but I've loved every bit of it. I've stepped ashore because as we discussed, we need to balance our life. So this is my balancing period.